Today's guest is from Knoxville, Tennessee, and went to Middle Tennessee State. He played in NFL Europe for the Berlin Thunder, then the NFL for the Buffalo Bills. Then he came north to the Hamilton Ticats and the Edmonton Eskimos. He finished his CFL career with 13 interceptions and 3 pick sixes. Not only was he talented, but he knows the game inside out. He coaches at the University of Waterloo and previously had his training gym, Bradley Sports. Welcome to the show, Joaquin Bradley. What's up, brother?
Man, what's going on, Nick? First of all, I want to thank you for having me on the show. You know, what you're doing, man, it's inspiring. It's a blessing to some guys that want to come on and talk and tell their story. So keep doing it, man. That's greatness. I just want to thank you for having me on the show. It's a blessing.
Man, you know we had to do it. We go way back. We got a friend in common, Salacio. But before we get to Salacio, I got to host the Rod Peterson show one day, right? They called me, and I went in to be on the show. And the producer sat down with me and said, what would you think about hosting the show? Rod's going to be out of town, and we need a host. And if you don't do it, I'm going to have to do it. And, he was just like, we would really love for you to do it. And, you can have up to 4 guests. I mean, my guests, Damon Allen, Ryan Phillips, John Bowman, and then yourself.
That's those legends right there, man.
Well, but you bought that thunder, though. Everybody was talking about how passionate you were.
Hey, it's from the inside, man. It's all about that passion. It's the way I coach. It's the way I live my life, right?
Yeah, it was just awesome to be a part of that. To see where that show has gone. They started it about a year ago, just over a year ago, and to see how many viewers they get in the process of that year of just doing something, 5 days a week, how many American viewers they get. But definitely a truly great episode that I got to be a part of, and, you got to be a part of it as well. What'd you think about it?
Man, it was awesome, Nick. Just to go on there, tell some stories, joke around with you and Charleston Hughes. And, anytime you do something like that and you call me, I'm going to bless it, right? So it was an honor to be on that show. Rod doing a great job with it. And like you said, man, to be among some greats, you have 4 guys on there. And the 3 you just named, I mean, I look up to all 3 of them. And those guys, some awesome players, they awesome, man. So it was just a blessing to be on that show. But it was awesome. I had a ball, baby.
Indeed. Well, let's get to it, man. Your nickname is Killer.
Right.
I got a story about this, but how'd you get the nickname Killer?
So I was at Middle Tennessee State, and I played receiver. I went to Middle Tennessee State to play receiver. I didn't want to play DB. I didn't want to play DB. I didn't want to hit nobody. I wanted to score touchdowns. So first day in practice, I went out there, and, I did a pretty good job at receiver. The receiver coach said, man, feet like those, I have to move you to defensive back. And he came from the NFL. So he said, if you want an opportunity to, sign an NFL contract, we have to move you to defensive back. As much as I don't want to, I was very upset about it. So they moved me to defensive back. I was over there. Didn't want to hit nobody, Nick. Didn't
What
want to
about
hit
that
nobody, man. But, the head coach came to me, Andy McCullum, a great coach. And he was like, I need you to get that killer instinct. I need you to start coming down and killing people. So I used to tell the guys, I said, you know what? I'm about to just start killing people. So I took the shot one time, and it felt great. And after that, killing it just kept that nickname just stayed with me, man.
One time we played y'all in Hamilton, and Johnny Frazani on the bus after the game, like he was like Johnny could run.
Yeah, he fast.
Johnny could run.
Put him up, put him down, boy.
Johnny was like, man, that dude crazy. He's talking about he was going to kill me out there. I said, Johnny, that's just in the game, man. You know what I'm saying? And you had him shook. Were you a big trash talker when you played?
I was a big trash talker, Nick. As a DB, once I get a receiver to talk to me, I felt like I had him. Now, one thing I know about you, you was a big trash talker too, so it didn't work with you. But, at the end of the day, you talk trash because 90% of it is mental.
Yeah.
Right? And if I can get into a receiver head, he worried about me and not catching that ball. Right? So that was one of my it's just one of my techniques. And on the field, I like to talk trash, but off the field, it was all love. You know, we all got to go home to our family. It's a professional sport. You know, it's a big fraternity in the CFL, from the NFL, don't matter. We all, you know, we show love to each other. On the field, we compete.
Yeah.
Off the field, we show love.
Yeah, because when he said you was talking trash to him, I was like, man, Killer ain't gonna do nothing. He goes, his name is Killer too.
Oh, John, you know, and that's a great receiver too, man. You better try to get him off his game, or he gonna run by you.
Oh man, you know what the biggest thing? He didn't even start playing football until like his 12th grade year. Oh. Like if he would have actually had the chance to learn the game and like, you know, just not play on talent alone,
right?
Like Johnny could have been special.
Yeah, that's kind of like Markeith, Nick.
Yeah, he was 4.37. Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny really? Randall, yeah, he was 4.3 legit. Yeah, Markeith, he told me he didn't start playing in high school.
Really?
Yep, got in it. I think he said I want to say sophomore, junior in high school. And look at the player he turned out to be.
Man, I don't know who got on my nerves more, Markeith or Sean Lucas and Sass. Neither one of them talked.
Nope.
Like I remember one time Sean Lucas, I ran at him, first play of the game. Full speed, we running the ball. He's down in his stance. I run at him, palm to the face mask.
Right.
His face mask hits him in the face. His ear pads fall out. His helmet's up on his head, like turned like this.
Right.
He picks up his ear pads and runs off the field for 2 or 3 plays to fix it, and then comes back. Never said a word.
Don't say a word. Yep.
That bothered me because it didn't bother me. It bothered me as a man that you let somebody do that to you and you didn't say nothing.
Right. But you know what, Nick? It's a strength too, man, to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing I said, like, if I can get that receiver to talk back, then I know I kind of got some kind of control. Yeah. But when he don't say a word to me, then it's like he's not empowering my words. That's one thing I live on in life, right? You know, He's not reacting to anything that I'm saying. So I need him to react to what I'm trying to say just to let me know that I got him. But he wouldn't do it, man. And a lot of receivers didn't do it. So, I mean, that bothered me as well.
You know, sometimes you get in those talking matches like Corey Banks is out there, you know, me. Yeah. Who were some of the big trash-talking receivers that you've been around? Because I think about it, I don't really know a lot that really just talk a lot of trash. Receiver.
It wasn't really a lot, you know. Like I said, you know, that's how it was good because, you know, to get us going, man. I needed that to get me going. Jermaine Cope, you know, me and Cope from the same hometown. He about 30 minutes away. He from Harriman, Tennessee. Yeah. So, you know, Cope, he'll talk a little trash too.
But Cope got that old Southern trash talk.
He got that old Southern trash talk, yeah. You know what? Who you just brought up? Lacio. My roommate, right? My roommate and your roommate. Yeah. He was when I was at MTSU, he was actually with the Chicago Bears. So he would come back and we would do our one-on-ones. And man, you know, Lacio was fast too. I think he was like 4'2". Yeah. So he helped me out a whole lot, but we went at it. We'd go on the field at MTSU, man. We do our one-on-ones. I got him one time. That's how you talk to him, Nick. Ask him about the quick jam I hit him with, and I almost tore his knee.
I told Lacio he need to do some squats because them legs were small.
Boy, them legs were so small, but that upper body, boy, he was on point.
Man, one time I remember we were down on the field in Calgary where they don't practice anymore, but it's a little grass field. And there's an exit right there.
Okay.
And Lacio's about to do a one-on-one, and this bus comes off the exit. And, like, it's coming. It never stops. It's like it exits off, and it's going as Lacio starts running. And Lacio outruns the bus and catches a fade route on somebody in one-on-one. And I'm like, that shit is crazy.
Oh, I believe it, man. Lacio could put them up and put them down.
Man, that dude
was his strength, boy. Yep.
That dude was special. You know, you've been around a lot of great DBs, not just playing the game, but I mean, just since the game has been done, since you've moved past the game, and just to name a few like Shives and RP, you know, you've been around Jason Shivers and, I mean, you know, Mark Washington and Orlando Steinauer.
Right.
What does that mean to you to be around those type of people like that are like very smart and intelligent?
It's empowering, Nick. It's a growth mindset. Actually, I had Jason Chavez at the house yesterday, and we were just sitting down and we were just talking football, we was talking life, you know, and anytime you can sit down with guys like those and keep on, you know, empowering your brain and get that knowledge, man, it's a blessing. You know, I talked to one of my close friends and old teammate Brandon Lynch all the time. He just got the cornerback job with the Cleveland Browns. Awesome. So, yeah, so, man, I mean, it's a blessing to see what these guys are doing. Like I said, I like to surround myself with good men, you know, because they good men before they coaches. And that's what I like to surround myself with, man. And just to be able to pick their brains and to grow from it, it's a blessing and it's an awesome opportunity.
Yeah, Shives became a D coordinator last year for the first time in SAS. We were guest coaching together a couple years ago there in 2018.
Yep.
Just talk to me about the experience of just watching him and, you know, from back then he was the DB coach 2 years ago to last year becoming the defensive coordinator to now getting ready for, you know, if no season 2021. But can you just talk about the mindset and the change that you've seen him? Because one thing is that these guys are not only great coaches and they were great players, but, you know, men of color.
Yes.
That are in position to do some things as well.
Well, one thing I was always told, Nick, if you would, he was the defensive back coach when we was there guest coaching.
Yeah.
But I was always told by a coach, if you're the defensive back coach, you need to be preparing like you got to have the mindset of a defensive coordinator. If you're the defensive coordinator, you need to have the mind of a head coach. So as a defensive back coach, you think in your mind, you the head coach of your defensive backfield. So to watch Shives out there, you know, making the calls while which allowed Coach Jones to go around and you know, check on everything else, the special teams. Let's go see what the offense is doing and watching the receivers run their routes while Shives took over the whole defense. And I remember telling him the night after that first practice, I said, hey, you better be ready because you finna be a defensive coordinator. I told him that you can ask him. I said, we're going to speak it into existence. I said, because the way that you ran everything, the way that you was organized, your demeanor, the way them players respond to you, man, Nick, it was awesome to see that, man, and it was inspiring, and I loved it because, you know, when I see guys like, you know, him, Mark, Brandon, all those guys doing great things, I love it, man, and, you know, I'm always rooting for them.
Yeah, you were around Mark Washington last year for the first time, I believe.
Yeah.
You know, we played against each other, and he's been a part of the league for a long time, was in BC for a long time, but now got to Hamilton, and you went in and guest coached with them last year. Can you just talk about that experience of being around him for the first time? And is there any similarities with Shives, or is it different? I know he's a great man of faith and a great dude.
Well, everybody got their different styles.
Yep.
You know, Mark is a great, like I said, like you just said, he's a man of faith. You know, he stand on principles that don't change. And I love it, man. And Mark, one thing about Mark is just to watch him take control of his meeting room. Yeah. You know, the way he take control of his meeting room, the way he get everybody involved, to hold everybody accountable. Don't nick my phone.
You good.
Okay. Yep, the way he take control of the meeting room and hold everybody accountable, man, that was awesome. And just to see how prepared he was. And one thing I learned about Mark, too, was the work ethic. I remember going to the dorm room. I can't remember what time it was, and Mark was still in there on the computer watching. When I wake up, he was the first one in meetings. So it was just the work ethic. He talked to me about the work ethic. And to this day, I can call Mark, ask any question. He's going to pick up the phone. That's awesome. One thing about all my guys that I surround myself with. You know, you don't have to worry about them answering the phone. You got a question, you call them, and they're going to answer the phone. They're going to answer your question.
Yeah. And then you got Coach O, man. That dude's special to me. I mean, he's like Barack Obama to me because he just got that persona. He's not loud. He demands respect. I remember him, you know, my first image of him is the leader of Toronto's defense.
Right.
He had all those guys. They went and won a Grey Cup in 2004, my first year. But he had Mike O'Shea, Kevin Ibbott in front of him, and Mike Fletcher, and, you know, all those dudes up front. Johnny Blaze from Tennessee, you know what I'm saying? So you had all those dudes, and you had the DBs and everything, and he was like the leader of the defense. And now just to see what he's done, I mean, going down to Fresno and making them a top 10 defense.
Yeah.
Right? And then coming back to the CFL and doing what he's doing here. Can you just talk about being around him and in his whole demeanor and how he handles that team? And I can see why he's successful.
Exactly, because he's a true leader, Nick. You know, he lead, them guys follow, man. And like you said, he's not loud. He calm and poised under pressure, but he will demand. And he will hold everybody accountable, starting with himself, right? That's one thing I learned about Coach O. He calm and poised under pressure. He will, you know, he holding everybody accountable, but everything starts with him. You know, he's about principles, and he about standing on them. You know, one thing I learned from – one thing that stood out to Coach O, he was like, man, we all signed up for this game. You know, it's going to be somebody that I cut that's going to go somewhere else and be an all-star.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And it was just amazing to see, you know, how he handled things mentally, how he surrounded himself with great coaches as well, like Mark Washington and Jim Barker. And they stood on the same principles as Coach O, right? And then that trickled down to the team. So it was no doubt in my mind that them guys made the right turn and they was going to have some success. But, man, It was a blessing to be around them, Nick, and to learn from them.
Yeah, I could totally get that, man, because I just look at that list of names right there, and I know your intelligence of the game, but to be around those guys that have proven it, you haven't got your chance yet to prove it on that stage.
Right.
Right. But to be around those men, and like you said, each are different, but all are successful.
Right.
Right. And I think that's the biggest thing, to be around those guys and to have those contacts that you can pick up the phone and talk to. And even, like you said, Brandon Lynch. Like, how you feel about that, that you have all that access to those people and you're trying to carry it forward in everything that you're doing?
You know what, Nick? I take it as I like it. It's a challenge to me. You know, it's a challenge to me. One thing that I will do is keep, you know, having that growth mindset, keep learning from those guys. So, like they always tell me, when it's your time, you are ready.
Yeah.
You know, when the opportunity comes, you are ready, because it will come. It's just like anything else, man. You can't rush it. You know, it's like planting a seed, Nick. You plant that seed, it got to go through the dirt first.
That's it.
You know, and then once you water and go to the dirt and it grow, now you're in position to branch out. And you can create opportunities for other guys just like they created the opportunity for you.
Yep.
So it's all timing, man, and I'm going to soak up all the game from the OGs. That's what I call them, the OGs.
That's it.
I'm going to soak up all the game, man, and I'm going to be ready when my time comes.
I've been thinking about this, and are defensive backs the smartest defensive players on the field? Because I look at guys like we talked about with Mark Washington, Jason Shivers, Orlando Steinhauer, you throw Corey Banks in there, and RP and Brandon Smith, Jamar Wall, Tad Cornegay,
right?
You know, yourself. Like, for me, those guys stand out with their knowledge of the game, that know this inside and out, that were able to play for so long. Do you think defensive backs are the smartest defensive players on the field as far as at the pro level?
You know what, Nick? I'm not going to say the smartest, but we get to see it from a different angle than everybody else. The D lineman is down. They can't see what's going on the back end. You know, the linebackers can see what the D lineman is doing, but they can't see what's going on the back end. We get to see it from a different view than everybody else on that field. So one thing that Mark, you know, always talk about is being a complete defensive back. You want to be a complete DB. I want to know what that front line doing, what those linebackers doing. I want to know if that blitz is coming to my side, because I need to know if that quarterback throwing into the blitz to give me opportunity to jump that route.
Yeah.
Or is he throwing away from the blitz, right? You know, I need to know the fronts. I want to see what the fronts we in. I want to know the protection. Are they going to have time to pick it up? Are they bombing the receiver down now and cover zero, so they might have an extra second to throw that deep ball on me, whereas they don't bomb them, I don't know that ball got to come out right now because the extra blitz is the quarterback man, right? So that's stuff that you know to make you, you know, separate from anybody else. So we got to see it from a different perspective.
You know, most people see football and they think it's checkers, right? You need great athletes to go out and execute great game plans. But what you're talking about is chess. And that's what I'd be trying to tell everyone is the chess match of everything that's really going on the field. Because when we get into conversations like this, it's very hard to explain to people. Like I'll use Tony Romo for instance.
Okay.
I'm a Cowboy fan. They're playing Washington. It's to go to the playoffs, and the whole game, the running back keeps flaring out of the backfield. Nobody guards. No, they're playing the Eagles.
Okay.
Nobody guards the running back the whole game. Nobody.
Right.
And I'm like, man, Tony's got to hit the running back. And, he's probably been getting his feedback. It's a key down. He drops back. The middle linebacker comes right down the middle of the field. They didn't block him. He turns and throws to the running back. The defensive end for the first time, Brandon Graham, I believe it was, peeled and got a pick.
Oh.
For the first time, he peeled the
His
whole
first
game.
time peeling, and he got the
First time
pick.
he peeled, he got the pick.
It's because
But people see Tony Romo throwing the pick and like, well, Tony threw the pick.
Right.
But if you look at what's been going on, like I watched the game totally different than everybody else. I see what's going on the field. I see what they're trying to do and things like that. I don't just look at a play and say, oh, it's a complete or incomplete, or it was a good play or not a good play. Like
right.
I'm constantly analyzing what's going on and seeing these things, right? And it's just crazy that football could be so individualized to fans, but how structured it is for players.
Yeah, because we're looking at it from a different perspective, Nick. My wife hates watching football with me because I will stop the game, I'll pause it, I'm explaining to her the fronts, I'm explaining to her the blitz, and all she want to do is watch the game. She want to touch it. But that's my mindset. I'm looking at it like I'm watching film.
Yeah.
And it's all about the why, right? That's one thing we talk about is the why. Why, as a defensive back coach, I always wanted my guys to understand the why. When I'm a defensive coordinator, you need to know why in Charlie Brown we got to do it out of an underfront. You know what I mean? Why the front got to match the blitzes. So I'm all about coaching up the why, because I feel like if they know the why, then they can go out there and perform at the highest level.
Yeah. Speaking of being a DB coach, how was the transition into DB coaching? Like from playing to coaching, what was the biggest change for you that you saw?
That I couldn't go out there and make the play. I had to relate the information to, my players and get them to go out there and make the play. So I had to become, as a teacher, I know I had to be a different style teacher. I didn't want just be one-dimensional. I had to be visual, I had to be audio, and I had to be kinesthetic, because Tyrell might can just hear what I'm saying and go do it. As to Andy Mello, he can see it and go do it, where I might have Lyle Fletcher that got to do both. He might have to see it and do it, right? So I wanted to make sure I gave them guys everything they needed to be able to compete at the highest level. So I had to be a three-dimensional teacher, and that was the biggest thing, man. It was good. It worked out for us. I want to thank Darrell Adams, from the University of Waterloo defensive coordinator, for giving me the opportunity to put me in position to work with a bunch of great players, man, and being transparent. Them guys and Chris Pretoria as well, Nick, because he took a shot on me, and without them, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in now.
Yeah.
I just knew I had to be transparent in everything that I do and be demanding as well.
Yeah.
I had to be I wanted to demand greatness out of those guys, and also be positive while I'm doing it, giving them positive reinforcement, because you can sit there and yell and be negative. I was told the coach to do a lot of yelling is pointing the fingers at the players, because he wants everybody in the stands to know it ain't his fault.
Exactly.
Calm and poise, man.
That's it. And a lot of people can't perform under that pressure. They're already under pressure.
Right.
And I tell them all the time, it's not like you wanted to mess up. Right? It's not like you win the game saying, you know what, I'm about to go screw this play up.
Exactly. We know that.
I'm about to mess this coverage up. Right. We know you going out there trying to do something.
We know you messed up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's coach up the why. Let's coach him up now.
That's
now
it.
he done went out there and messed up. Give us the opportunity to go coach him up now. That's what we get paid to do.
When my backs came to sideline last year, it was we watched film on the iPad. I took notes on if I seen something, running back ducking his head on blocks, or, not taking the proper steps, or whatever the case was.
Yes.
And, I go through it with him. I can't tell you what to do.
Right.
Hey, why did this happen? or remember your technique. Let's go back to the technique, and make sure you're
Fundamentals.
pressing the hold. Make sure you're pressing the hold. We're gonna jump cut this, right? So it's just all about that. It's about fundamentals. But I understood. See, I feel like there's a lot of coaches that don't understand you in the same damn boat as the players.
Right.
They act like they got a different life raft out here that can float, and they're yelling and screaming at players. Like, what is that gonna do?
Yeah.
We're in the same boat. I'm trying to get the most out of you, and I'm trying to help you be the best you can be, and that's my job.
You the pilot. You the pilot of your plane. You flying that plane. So if I'm the pilot and we hitting turbulence and I'm freaking out, then guess what? The passenger's gonna freak out too. But if I'm calm and poised, okay, put your seatbelts on. We just hit a little turbulence, but we gonna get through it. Guess what? They're gonna be calm and poised, and somebody gonna go out there and end up making a play. But if not, it's gonna snowball. And it's just one of my favorite books is Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
And there's certain principles in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill that you got to stand on. And if you stand on those in life and you stand on those in coaching, guess what? Everything else will take care of itself. So that's what I stand on, Nick, and that's what I coach on. We talked about that in the last interview.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I love about Clay as well. Like Clay, he always encouraged the players. He never demeaned the players. Right.
Yes.
Our team stayed together, man. That was awesome. That was, to be on that side for the first time.
Right.
And I know how easy it is to lose players and for players to give up on coaches or to give up on teams and stuff like that. But dude, it's just awesome to be around good people, man, that understand it. And when I talk about like Mark Washington and Shives and Steinhauer, yourself and even RP over there in BC still. But this whole new generation, right, of our generation of players that are now coaching, but are doing it in a positive way and giving kids a great opportunity to be successful. Right. When you look at CIS, like when we came into the CFL, like your first year in the CFL was 05?
05, yep.
Yeah. So your first year in the CFL, we remember the caliber of Canadians that were playing then.
Right.
I mean, you had some good ones. You had Hitchcock out there and some of those guys, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There were some great Canadians.
Yes.
But you only had one or two on the team, mostly. Right. When you look at going into Waterloo, what was the biggest difference of seeing those Canadian kids now compared to when we first got into the league?
Well, I was looking at it from a different angle, Nick, because when we was playing, dealing with, with Hitchcock and Clinton Wayne, he went to Ohio State. Hitchcock went to Weber State. Those guys went down to the U.S., and got coached down there and then came back up and was successful. When I went to Waterloo, it was just it's some great players at Waterloo, like the Tyrell Fords, It's guys, I seen guys on that team that I feel like could go down south and play.
Yeah.
And then it was some guys that was a little behind. But it's going to be like that on every team. You go down to the U.S., it's going to be some guys that you're going to see that's can play at the NFL level or the professional level, and it's going to be some guys that's a little behind, So, it was just a situation and looking at it with positive eyes. And, my thing was to go in there and I just wanted to teach. Yeah. I don't care what player you put in front of me. I always want to teach because I learned something no matter what level you at. And it's fortunate I got guys that's coaching at every level because they say, hey, no matter what level you at, Little League, NFL, CFL, high school, NCAA, you got to bring something to the table that can help those guys reach another level. If you can do that, then you're going to be coaching for a long time because that's what they need. If I'm in the NFL, how can you get me to that second contract? How can you get me to that third contract? If I'm in the NCAA, how can you get me, to the pros or get me potentially signing a professional contract? If you're in high school, you want to play college ball. And not only that, you still installing the principles of manhood in me because before you're a coach, or anything else you do in life, you're a man that stand on principles.
Yeah.
Right? I always say that you take all that away from a person and you take the game away from the person as you seeing what's happening now in 2020, what are you inside?
Yep, 100%.
So
how do you think this is going to affect those CIS kids and even the NCAA kids with everything going on, stuff being canceled? If the SEC and the Big 12 go ahead with play also, Well, let's go
Right.
with how you think it's going to affect the kids. Then we'll go into the SEC and Big 12.
Well, you know what I think it's going to affect the kids mentally, because this is the first time it's being taken away from them.
Yeah.
But with the same, if you think about it though, if you really look at it from a positive mental attitude, now to give them an opportunity to really focus on something else as well. You know, I mean, maybe I always say 2020. If you take the year 2020 and put vision at the end of it, it's 2020 vision. You know what I'm saying? You got the best hindsight as a human being that it can go. So what are you seeing? What is this trying to show you? What can we get better at? It done took away all the entertainment. It done took away everything from you. How can you empower yourself, right? Like take it and you want it to be positive.
Yep.
Now we can always look at the negative. Like if I'm a player, I can look at the negative. Okay, it's no football, but what can I gain from it in a positive aspect? You know, how could I grow as a man?
100%. That's 100%. Do you think these colleges are going to extend scholarships because of there might be a backlog, right? So
right,
with guys coming in next year and guys being able to get an extra year.
Well, you know what, Nick? So I don't think I told you, but I recently took a cornerback position at Northwood University.
Okay. Congrats.
You know, working with the cornerbacks, and you know, it's kind of done messed up everything, the plans that I had with the virus, and you know, getting across the border, and just a lot of things, you know, that's uncertain. You like, but I look at it from a different, you know, point of view. I look at it from a positive point of view. So something positive is equally gonna come out of it. But I was talking to the coach. Matter of fact, it was yesterday. And, you know, the first 2 games already done been canceled. Camp already done been pushed back. I mean, it's just so much uncertainty, you know. And then do I want to go down there, you know, and come back across the board? I got a family that I got to sit there and make sure that I, you know, take care of them first and don't bring nothing back to them, you know. It's just so much, you know, that's going on. And we got to make sure, you know, we make the right decisions, not only for ourselves, but for our family, because that's what it's about. And it's a hindsight, man. But like I said, it's 2020. It's a vision. You know, everything gonna get crystal clear, and we just gotta, you know, take it for what it is, and keep inspiring and grow from it. Cause something good gonna come out of it.
That's it. If the SEC and Big 12 go ahead with their season, like obviously we can't have a champion of 2020.
Right.
What are we playing for? If you can't have a champion, like what are we playing for? That's what you play for, right? I know a lot of kids want to play to better themselves and go to the next level, but we know 99% of those kids won't. So so what are we trying to get out of 2 conferences continuing their season?
You know, that's a good question, Nick. I mean, and I think most of it's gonna come from within the players. You got to find something within. Like I said, I read a book, Think and Grow Rich, and one of them is The Burning Desire. What's your burning desire and your definite purpose to do what you need to do? So that's where they're gonna have to find something. What's your burning desire? It might be, you know, you might want your father to see you play, or you want to just go out there and conquer the guy in front of you, because you know anything you conquer, you own.
Yeah, that's
right.
It.
I mean, it's an inside job. You want to play because there's no championship. So you're not playing for a championship now. So it got to come from within, or you're going to get a lot of players that's not going to play.
Yeah.
Which is understandable, crazy. Too.
It's
yeah,
so crazy.
Man.
I don't know how they're going to play in the spring and then try to play next fall.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's new for everybody. So, it's, you know, it's like football, Nick. It's all about adjustment now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like going in there. They done been hitting us with this counter, and we got to figure out a way to stop it. We got to start adjusting and figuring out a way, you know, to come out of this thing on top. So it's football, translate to life. We got to make an adjustment.
Hey, you've been dealing with it. Like, you just be at home and working on your craft?
Man, yep. You know, working on my craft, out there grinding to take care of the family, Nick. You know, I'm reading a lot of books, taking notes, you know, doing Zoom meetings with a lot of top coaches in the country, in the NFL, CFL, just growing from it, man. I'm taking this opportunity to grow from it. And like I said, it's an inside job. I look at it as a blessing, and I'm gonna continue to, you know, plant that seed and keep reading, you know, talking to players that's dealing with the situation and not handling it as good as I am, you know, and explaining to them the why.
Yep. You know, it makes sense because there's a lot of people putting out a lot of great content. I know
Yes.
coaches are doing Zooms and different things. What's
Right.
been the one thing that you think you've taken the most out of this time, as far as what have you learned the most, or something that really caught your attention that you didn't know before COVID?
Just the lack of opportunities that we have as coaches. You know, that's one thing that really stood out to me. I read an article, with Lovie Smith, and he was saying that he wanted to be a head coach in the NFL. That was his dream. But when he looked, he never seen nobody on the sideline that looked like him.
Yeah.
Right, as in that position, in that head coaching position. So how do you, as a young kid that want to one day become that, how do you, get that opportunity if you never see nobody in your position? And he went out there, man, he fought for it. And he ended up getting a head coach, job with the Chicago Bears.
Yep.
And now at the University of Illinois, he create jobs for half his staff is I think they got the most black coaches in the NCAA. Him and Herm Edwards at Arizona State. But he said, I want to give opportunities to black coaches that's qualified. You got to be qualified, right?
You got to be qualified.
Yep. So, I thought that was awesome, Nick. That was just being put into that position to go and do what you do.
We're in a very, I won't say strange, but it's a very different time. Because there's a thin line. Like you just said, you got to be qualified.
Right.
Like, when we look at this, and even I don't like talking about president and stuff like that, but Joe Biden is picking Kamala Harris, the first woman of color that's going to be a vice president. Right. Or running to be a vice president. So my thing is, there wasn't a lot of opportunities for black coaches or, coaches of color. I'll just say that.
Yes.
Right. We don't see that a lot. And when you get the opportunity, and I look at a guy like Clay,
right,
who's not cut like everybody else, but one of the most intelligent people you could ever be around.
Yep.
Right. And even like a guy like Mike O'Shea, who wore shorts, and they were like, coaches can't wear shorts on the sideline.
Right.
And he wears his shorts. Right. And people look down on that. But we look at this fine line of needing more black coaches, having more black coaches, being qualified to be in those positions.
Right.
What do you think the course of action? I see they just changed the NFL now. You got to interview 2 black coaches instead of 1 for every job. Like, do you think that's going to help? And how do you see this whole dynamic playing out right now where it stays fair? Or where it goes fair, where you're getting the job based on your merit, not your color.
Right. I think it's about, demanding, right? You got to demand. And like I always say, it's an inside job. We got to make sure that when we do get the opportunity, we take advantage of it, because you need to start getting guys in position who can help, instead of being a head coach. Okay, let's get some ADs. You know what I'm saying? When we doing the interview process, who is in that room? You know what I mean? Like, that's why I always say, I always start with us. It's an inside job. You were just talking about Clay, and one thing that all the players that play for Clay love him.
Yeah. You don't meet people that don't love playing for Clay.
Exactly. And one thing Clay was doing, it was getting hot. You guys was getting hot, Nick, at the end of that, last year, going on the road. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, you had somebody in position, and then you had Ed over him, Herbie, and that was nice, and it was a blessing. I wanted to see Clay get more time though.
Oh, of course.
Because I was rooting for him, as well as I was rooting for Mike O'Shea, because he's a guy that we played with, to see him get his opportunity. But I just think, man, just demanding and being prepared when the opportunity comes. And making sure that we, create opportunities for, other guys that probably would never have opportunity if we weren't in the position that we in. Like I said, Darrell Adams, gave me my opportunity, and Chris Patoia, he signed off on it, right?
Yep.
But it was an inside job, and I made sure I was qualified. Where Joe Higgins gave me the opportunity to coach prep school.
Yeah.
So, it's we just got to keep on being great. going through the greatness. I always talk about the greatness, being baptized, going through the baptism in our fire and coming out on top.
That's it.
So
it's and that's one of the things is like we do need more black GMs. Yeah. Because if the NFL, and even if you look at the CFL, it's over 50% black.
Right.
Right. So players are going to relate to people that look like them as well. And I'm not saying we should get rid of all the white coaches because that'd just be dumb.
Right, because there's some great white coaches. There's some great coaches.
Great coaches, right?
There's great coaches out there.
And I mean, I find it that it's still silly that we even have to talk about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's still silly that we have to talk about it. But yes, some people that make decisions don't like certain images.
Right.
Some people that make decisions, one thing might turn them off about you, but it might be a part of your culture.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
and
that's
they didn't grow up with that culture, so they don't understand it. But they don't understand it. So now they don't like that you're, doing something that is not generic to the way the coach is supposed to look. I mean, we're going to a world where you're going to have CEOs. I mean, you're starting to have them now that have full arm sleeve tattoos.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly.
We're going to a world where you're going to have coaches with multiple tattoos and different things. And I think we should be getting out of what you should look like mold. I mean, not just with color, but just with the aspect of just quit judging people. Judging by the merit of their character and what they want to do and not by the way they look.
And right, Nick, and absolutely go back to what I said earlier, before anything else, who are you inside? A man. I mean, with everything that's going on, everybody talking about, I was talking to one of my friends down in Tennessee. He was just talking bad about the cops. And I was like, well, wait a minute. All cops is not bad cops.
Exactly.
I said, all cops is not bad. I don't care what color you are. All cops is not bad cops. You got some bad cops out there. Yep. You got some bad lawyers out there. You got bad preachers out there. But you also got good cops out there. You got good lawyers. You got good preachers. It's about what you stand on inside. And it come down to them principles that I'm talking about, the principles of manhood.
Yeah.
That you got to stand by and be willing to die for before you violate them.
Yep. So let's talk about that because who you are today, man of principle, man of faith, and you know where you want to go and what you want to accomplish. How did that start? Like, let's talk about when growing up in Knoxville.
Yep.
You were a little jet. Little jets running through the streets. What was it like growing up in Knoxville? And when did you start everything, playing sports?
Well, growing up in Knoxville, I started playing sports at 8 years old. We had, down there, Nick, everything about football, football in church. Your grandmother gonna make sure you're in church. You're gonna make sure you're standing on them principles, right?
That's it.
My pops was a great football player, so everywhere I went, I was John Bradley's son. He ended up getting hurt. He told the story where his backup ended up going to the NFL. Mm-hmm. But I come along and he had to take care of me. So I wanted to continue to play and continue that legacy. So I started playing at 8 years old, and I loved the game. Nick, my first position was center, man.
Really?
They had me playing center. Yeah, I was out there. They looking for a center, man. I was a natural snapper. I was snapping that ball. So I went home, but they said, "Boy, what position they got you playing?" I said, "Center." He said, "Oh no." He said, "We got to go up to that field." I got to talk to coach, so they moved me to running back, and we had some great running backs, man. We got some great talent in Knoxville. And then I went on to Fulton High School, played at Fulton under Buck Coatney and Robbie Black, man. And those guys was awesome, Nick. Just everything that I learned from them. If you know about Knoxville, it's a violent city. I mean, football was the way out. We had a lot of players there was great players that got caught up in that, and that's why I want to coach, because I want to be that guy that can go into them inner city neighborhood and recruit and give guys opportunities that they probably, would never have if you don't go in there and find them. It's kind of finding them diamond in the rough, but there's some ballers. But a lot of people don't want to go in those neighborhoods.
Yeah, they come with a lot of baggage.
Exactly. But one thing that's happening is changing now, Nick, because we got guys down there, like we got Carlos Younger and Big Will, you know, recruiting program down there that's helping guys get out of, you know, the inner city and getting college scholarship. You know, Roy Gills, like those guys are doing an awesome job with giving guys opportunities, man. So then I went to MTSU, got an opportunity to go to MTSU. You know, that was a blessing.
But before we get there, when you was growing up in Knoxville, who was the biggest influences around you? Was it just your dad, or was there other influences like when you was little and getting into it?
It was my dad. It was a guy, my cousin, my older cousin, Billy Williams, who went to Alcorn, and he went on to go to the University of Tennessee, and he got drafted into the NFL. I remember Nick going to watch him play against University of Florida, and he hit them boys up. I was telling Shaz a story yesterday. Man, he hit them boys up for 3 tubs. I remember the commentator said, "Hey, you ain't never seen 4.3 speed? You just seen it now." So watching, his nickname Turk. So watching Turk, man, and I remember telling my dad, I'm going to play in this stadium one day, and I'm going to do the same thing Turk did. At that time, I was playing receiver, so I thought I was going to go out there and score 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But, you know, God had another plan, and I went out there, and, I had one of my best games in college football at the University of Florida in the Swamp, right? Mm-hmm. And it was just something that I said I was going to do at 13 years old.
Did you play any other sports growing up? Like, was football the first sport you played?
Football was the first sport I played. I always ran track. You know, and I played basketball as well. So those are my 3 sports.
What can you do? What can you do on the court? You a shooter, you a slasher, you a defensive player. Like, what do you do?
I was a shooter, man. I had a nice little jumper. I had a nice jumper. Look, and that footing, one I goes was a little lower than the other one, so it gave me an opportunity. You know, to not dunk, but I laid the ball up and then grab the rim like I dunked.
I used to always say, man, I had game like I used to score like AI, play defense like GP, and I used to rebound like KG. Hey, man.
We had some great ball players, boy. We had, you know, like guys like Chris Wiley. Man, we had Underwood Shell, you know what I'm saying, Brian Tate. Like, we had some ballers come out of Fulton, man. And those guys right there, you know, you always, Joe Kimber, like, I call those guys the OGs. Those guys that I always looked up to, you know, and the Shannon Mitchells from Alcorn. He went on to go play at the University of Georgia and go to the NFL. But, man, those guys right there is guys that I always looked up to. And I knew if I wanted to just be anywhere close to those guys, I got to keep representing and go out and ball out, man. That was my burning desire.
Did your dad push you to pursue scholarships at a high school? Because, like I said, he had been down that road. Was that an added benefit of having him in your corner, knowing what you needed to do to get to college?
Yes, because he made me believe I can do anything I put my mind to as long as I work for it. And he's like, no matter what the advantages are, you know, one of my favorite scripts is, though a just man fall 7 times, he shall not be utterly cast out. You know, you're going to fall. You better have that get up spirit like David had, you know, and that's what I got inside of me. So no matter what I'm going through, I know if I got a goal in mind, I got the burning desire, I'm going to accomplish it. No, I don't know how long it's going to take, Nick, but I know I'm going to get there. So he was real influence in my life, man, would push me. So that's why I love to see when dads push their son. A lot of people don't like that. They feel like they're pushing their son, but nah, push your son because you out for his best interest.
I'm kind of on that thin line. Like, if you want my help, you can come ask for it. I'm not gonna force you to go outside and work and do things. You know, my daughter's pretty talented, but we'll see what happens. But we'll see.
It's in the bloodline, Nick. She gonna be all right.
Yeah, soccer or basketball.
Yeah. Right. It's funny, Nick. My daddy put his film on, man, he was nice. He always said, "Boy, I can break on a quarter, make 2 dimes in the nickel." he was going to Kentucky. He was going to Kentucky before he got hurt. University of Kentucky, and another guy, Nick. I gotta mention him because he was a big influence in my life, and his sister was my sister's godmother, and that's Leroy Thompson, who went on from Knoxville to play at Penn State. He played with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Man, watching Leroy in high school, I mean, hey, I was going to be Leroy Thompson. But he a good mentor of mine too, man. Somebody I can call to this day to give me some information.
Man, you've always surrounded yourself by good people. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Getting to Middle Tennessee, was that the only option you had? Did you have other scholarships? Or how did you get there?
Nope. In school, all I wanted to do was play football.
Yeah.
That's why I stress the importance of education to my guys now, because my mindset, nigga, I'm just gonna go to the NFL. Make all these millions of dollars, and that's what it is. That was my focus.
Yeah.
So I remember when the University of Tennessee came, and they came and talked to me, and the first thing they said, "Boy, it looked like the only thing you seen was the football field." So they're like, "You gotta go to school. You gotta take school seriously, man. Or you won't be able to get offered a scholarship." We talked about some Prop 48, and we talked about the JUCO option.
Yeah.
So I was getting recruited by, a couple of guys. I had Penn State, I had NC State. I had a couple of great schools coming after me. I was working at Pizza Hut at the time. I remember the coach from Penn State. It was like, man, I hope you ain't getting fat on me. So I ain't getting fat, coach. But
breadsticks and cheese sticks.
Exactly. But the good thing about MTSU was, they was going D1 the following year, and I'm looking at their schedule. Now I had two. I could have went big time and as a Prop 48 or go JUCO. I could have went the JUCO route. So I was thinking about going to Hines Community College in Mississippi. That's where Fred Smooth, a lot of guys from Mississippi State go down there. But once MTSU showed me that schedule, man, I wanted to be part of greatness. I wanted to go somewhere where I could make a change.
Yeah.
Right. My cousin went the JUCO route, and the thing with that was I only had 2 years to play, and I wanted to play more than 2 years in university. Yeah. So I ended up going to MTSU, but I had to sit out my first year because I had a prop. I had to go as a Prop 48. I don't know if they still do the Prop 48 now, Nick.
Bless you.
But we had a bunch of guys, man, a bunch of Prop 48s and some ballers. A lot of guys got NFL opportunities, but it was a blessing in disguise for me. I feel like I always tell myself I made the right decision, because most of those guys that I played ball with was best man in my wedding.
Mm-hmm. Was Keon there? Was Keon there when you were there?
Keon came after me.
Came right after you then.
He came right after me, but I was always there with Keon.
Okay.
So we'd go out there. Keon did the one-on-ones with me and Lacio, and then Keon went on to the NFL with the Titans before making his way on up to Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, Keon, man, that's my guy, baller. MTSU, I tell him we got some ballers there.
Between MTSU and Eastern Washington, right?
Yeah.
And even Montana, right? Like Montana, there's some schools out there that don't get a lot of notice, but there's a lot of great players that come from there. Why do you think that is?
Because we had great coaches. We had great coaches. Our head coach, Andy McCullum, did a real good job of putting a staff together for that year. We had, like I said, Coach Bird, the receiver coach, came from the NFL in Tulane. Larry Fedor was our offensive coordinator. He was the head coach at North Carolina. Coach Wickline, the offensive line coach, he Google him, but he's still coaching. I think he at Texas right now. Casey Rogers, got it.
Texas.
Yep, I got it. I still talk to this day. Exactly.
Hey, man, Casey Rogers get that work. He went to Tennessee.
Yeah, he went to Tennessee.
Casey didn't go to Tennessee, did he?
Yeah, he went to Tennessee, man. Can you hear me, Nick?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, he went to Tennessee. He coach. He went on to coach. Where did coach go after that? He went to the NFL. After us, he went to the NFL. He coached with Dallas.
I'm thinking of a D tackle from Texas. They used to get that work.
Yeah, Coach Ryan. He was the D coordinator for the Jets.
Okay.
And now he coaching at Tampa Bay. He the D line coach at Tampa Bay. Nick, one of the greatest coaches, man, I had a chance to play for, man. And to this day, I call him, he answers the phone. I get advice from him too. That's my OG.
You know more coaches' names. I mean, I probably can't even go back to college right now and name all the coaches that I had seen in college. Of course, being in Division II, a lot of the coaches that I had were GAs. So I had a bunch of guys right out of college.
Right out of college.
That were general assistants that needed to get their masters or whatever that they was getting paid for to do the work. So
you're right.
I just had a bunch of GAs. You ever had any coaches you didn't get along with along the way?
I won't say get along with. I would say we had a couple of disagreements, but one thing I learned, my daddy always taught me, you agree to disagree. Everything you ain't always gonna agree with, your wife ain't always gonna agree with you, but at the end of the day, you agree to disagree. So I had some coaches that, we done agreed to disagree, and But at the end of the day, we come out and we know we both trying to reach an ultimate goal, and we're gonna figure out the problem, the solution to the problem, and get the job done. So
yeah, I don't know. Like college coaches, to me, there's a lot of college coaches out there that just talk reckless. You know, I remember I had a coach. He came in, and first thing he said was, "I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to be your coach."
yeah,
And he had a book in his office. It was How to Make Friends for Dummies.
oh man,
I'm like, man, this dude really just ain't got no kind of like he don't know how to make friends. So I already seen how this was gonna go.
right?
And you know me. I'm at Southern Arc, and I'm trying to think of what year he was there.
Okay,
And it might have been my last year. I don't remember. But at this point, I was a starter. You know, I didn't get along with him at all. It got to the point where I told him, if you ain't got nothing to say about football, don't talk to me.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Nick, I ain't really had too many coaches like that I could say. You know, most of the coaches that I had, they pretty much was good coaches. You know, good man. I mean, you know, when you get to the pro level, it become a business now.
Yeah.
Right. So you gotta take initiative, responsibility, because you know that's what you chose to be in that position.
Yep.
You know, you can't take nothing personal. It's all a business. You know, the coach might like you, but the GM might hate you.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah, but in college, man, it got bad. I remember one time I was sitting there like going in on him. He's like, standing. He's like, well, I'm standing right here. I can hear everything you're saying. I'm like, well, if you don't like it, you can walk over there. Right? And then after one game, he came in. I had like 170 or something like that and a couple touchdowns. And
okay.
he came in, tried to dap me up.
Yeah.
I said, what are you doing? Like I said, we not cool. Don't come in here and act cool with me.
Right.
Like if we out there, you can coach me. In here, don't talk to me.
Right.
I turned around on him. Like, see, my thing is, say respect is earned and not given. And when you come in here and you don't know somebody. Right. You come in here, you don't know me, but you're gonna make these statements and you're gonna try to rule with an iron fist, and because that's what you believe in and all this other stuff. Why don't you build relationships with the people, because you're trying to make them better men.
Exactly.
You're trying to make them better people.
But look at the response he got from you doing that, though, Nick.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't like that.
No, I mean, you get that out. I mean, I really never got that, but that's my coaching approach too. Like I want to coach a player hard. You know what I'm saying? And then we can work on the talent.
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna teach you the game of football. So I mean, most of the guys, like I said, I've still got contact to all those coaches now, so they let you know what type of man they was.
Exactly. And I've never had a problem being coached hard.
Right.
Like even in Montreal when Jacques Son was the receiver coach and he was young, he was in his 20s.
Okay.
And when we were in the inter squad scrimmage or whatever, you put on for the fans that you do near the end of training camp.
Yep.
And man, I ran the wrong route. I came to sidelines. I was like, man, I ran the wrong route. He goes, it's all right, Nick, you know it. I was like, no, it's not all right. I was like, you got to coach me. I said, you got to coach me like you coach him. One, don't ever set me aside, because I don't want anybody to think that I'm different. I don't want any receiver to look and say, oh, well, they treat Nick different.
Right.
I don't ever want you got to coach me like you coach everybody else, because one, that's your credibility.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Everybody's going to have different opportunities, but you got to treat people, I'm going to coach everybody the same.
Right.
Now, this person might get a couple extra opportunities to mess up than this person.
Yep.
But you got to coach everyone the same, because you got to set a standard and coach everyone the same.
But you just said it, though, Nick. You set the standards and the expectations. I was talking to a coach in the NFL, and he was like, man, when I first got there, I'm coaching up out it first year and the rookie guys. And, I think it was Barber came up to him like, Coach, man, I see what you're doing down there with them young guys. Why don't you coach me up? He did the Bill Walsh minority program. He was doing that, right? And he was like, man, what I'm going to teach you? You Rondé Barber, you Pro Bowler, blase. He was like, no, I need you to coach me up. I want to learn everything that they learning. He wanted to be coached up.
Got
I think
to.
sometimes it's a mindset as a coach when you get a great player. You know, it's a reason that they're great. Them guys want to stay great. You know what I mean? So they want any little thing they can get. It's like me as a coach. Any little thing I can get, I'm going to take. You know, I'm going to stay humble. I'm going to stay hungry. Nick, and one thing I always say, man, and I tell my players, stay hungry, stay humble. I'm going to coach you up. You know, I'm going to give you everything you need to go out there and succeed because that's what it's all about. So I had a meeting with Northwood DBs not too long ago to break the ice. You know, the D coordinator was on there. The DB coach was on there, Antoine. So first thing I told him, look, I'm not asking for nobody's respect. I want to earn it. But I'm always going to give mine. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you, because they already put it, coach, they put your highlight up, they don't watch you. Yeah, that's good. But guess what? I'm going to come in and I'm going to earn my respect, you know, because that's what it's all about, man, as a man.
That's it. But you build in those relationships. So once you build the relationship, now when times get tough, they know where it's coming from.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't build the relationship, you can't just walk in and start yelling at people. You didn't build nothing. I don't know where it's coming from. That's what it is. Yeah. You got to know where it's coming from.
If the house ain't got no foundation, it's going to fall, especially when the tornado comes.
That's it.
That thing going to fall. It's only going to stand for so long, Nick. So you got to have a solid foundation. And that's what I predicate my coaching off of, having a solid foundation, you know, coaching off principles, and then everything else will take care of itself.
Yeah. Because you know where it's coming from, man. Like, and that's one of the biggest things for me is just understanding that fact of seeing great people like yourself, man, in these positions. And, you know, you're going to Northwood, home of Charleston Hughes.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. First thing, you know, Charleston, I said, man, we did the interview together.
So it's just amazing because I'm inspired, but I also know that these young men are going to get so much more than football. Right. We talk about, I was talking to some kids and, you know, one kid was like, well, you know, I got to have a plan B. I'm like, no, you don't have a plan B. You have a life plan because you can't play sports for the rest of life, even if you go pro.
Right.
That's not plan B. See, most people think you got to have a plan B if you don't make it.
Right.
No, you got to have a life plan because you can only going to play for so long anyway.
Exactly.
So always work on your life plan. So even when you're not playing football, you're working on the life plan now. And it's not a plan B. It's your life plan.
And kids need to hear, everybody need to hear that, Nick, because now, look, football been taken away. You know what I'm saying? Now, what you going to go to your plan B? You see what I'm saying? Like, it don't have to be an injury to take away the game of football.
Yeah.
It could be anything. And 2020 is just opening up our eyes to that. Yep. So what you telling that young man is awesome because you putting them onto the game.
That's it. I don't care if you're a Hall of Famer and play 15, 20 years.
Yep.
Like, you need to do something after you're done playing.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So what are you going to do? What are you setting up for your life to be, and what are you going to do? And if you waiting to start it after you finish playing, now you're going to go through some trouble.
You're going to go through some trouble, and that's when it's going to hit.
Yeah.
But no, man, that's awesome advice. And I mean, that's some of the advice I give my young man, my young guys. And one thing I give them too is, you know, the reaction. I mean, we talked about reacting. I always tell them, you know, don't let nobody get you off your game. One thing football taught me, I remember I had, I think it was a parent come to me one time a while back. She was like, yeah, man, such and such says this about you. I said, oh, man, I said, that's unfortunate. I said, one thing I'm not going to do is talk bad about nobody. I'm going to bless them where they are, you know, and I'm going to talk good about myself. I say, one thing football taught us, and I know you can attest to this, Nick, is we can't get high-low off what somebody say. We got people out there every weekend when we play, commentating, and they're going, if I get a pick and take it to the house, oh, you're the best quarterback in the world. If I jump that out, same out route, and you run a wheel route on me, and I get beat, oh, he's terrible. So you got to treat praise, and you got to treat praise and criticism the same. You know, and you cannot get high off either one of them. 100%. And if it's not somebody that inspire you, somebody that you look up to, you know, somebody who words mean something to you, then you don't empower that person. You just let it go. And that's one thing. It's tough for a lot of people, but that's something that I learned through the game of football.
Yeah, man. You gotta treat it the same.
Got to treat it the same.
You got to treat it the same. Can't hate the praise. I can't hate the criticism and love the praise.
Nope.
It's all comes together. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna hear both at some point.
Exactly.
And if you don't hear none of it, you're not gonna be there long.
Exactly. Hey, they're gonna ask you want window, you want now.
Dinner on Delta.
Dinner on Delta.
So at MTSU, when did you think you could play pro football?
I always thought I could. I remember even when I was a prop, I said, man, I'm going pro. You know, it was just my mindset. It was something that I had in my head ever since I was young, and you know, I was gonna work for it.
Yeah.
But I always, especially after watching my cousin go, you know, and he inspired me, and he actually inspired Randall Cobb as well. Randall Cobb put it in one of his books, you know, Billy Williams, you know, inspired me to do what I do. And once I got to MTSU, hold on, Nick, my wife was just calling me.
Yeah.
So once I got to MTSU, man, and we played a lot of SEC games. We played a lot of Big Ten games. I said, we might as well be in the SEC.
Yeah.
You know, I had a pretty good game in Arizona. I had another good game against the University of Maryland when they had that big running back. I forget his name. He was a beast, though, man. I had an interception that game, a fumble recovery. So I know once I kept making them big plays in those big games, it's going to put my name, you know, on the map. And that's what it did. You know, I came out. It was my senior year, preseason All-American. My last year, I was tied. First 4 games, I was tied with Fletcher from Wisconsin for interceptions. You know, and then I dropped all the rest of them. Nick, if I'd have caught him, I'd have led the country, man. So
if you'd have caught him, you'd have been a receiver.
I know, right? So it was good, and you know, one thing led to another. But I got the big kid. And that's one thing that got me, you know. I start seeing my name on all these NFL sites. You know, I start talking to these agents at the end of the year and got the big head. I'm thinking, my talent is just going to be enough to get me to where I need to go. Lacio messed me up. Hey, Lacy, I told Lacio, man, I told him all the time, too. I said, man, you messed me up. He said, why? I said, because we covered. He's like, woo, boy, you can play in Chicago right now. You know, I'm still in college. He in Chicago.
Yeah.
You know, I'm locking him down. I'm locking down the NFL. So all that, you know, got to the head, and I stopped working as hard. I wasn't as hungry, Nick, and I haven't even got there. But in my mind, I was already there. So instead of getting drafted, I ended up going free agent. Signed a free agent deal to Buffalo. You know, my workout, thinking all I had to do was run a good 40, which I ran a decent 40. But not knowing that I'm the only DB, them drills they finna put me through was finna be a beast.
Yeah.
Nigga, I was so tired, man. I had never been that tired before in my life. I remember the coach from the Saints was like, man, you know what? We're just going to throw the ball. I was like, oh, look, here we go. Because, you know, I went to the Hula Bowl as well.
Yeah.
In Hawaii and Maui.
How was that?
It was nice. We had some good players, man. Brian Westbrook was our running back. You know, Major Applewhite was our quarterback.
Yeah,
Steve Spurrier and Bob Stoops was our coaches. You know, so it was good. It was a good experience. It was a long flight.
Yeah.
Long flight. But, you know, the New York Giants got this package that you probably had to fill it out for the NFL as well. This big, thick package that you filled out. So we flew from once we caught the flight from San Francisco to Hawaii. That package took 3 hours. By the time you were done, you was in Hawaii. Yeah.
So I know everything.
Yeah, man. But I reached one of my goals. One of my goals was to sign an NFL contract, and I did that. You know, my NFL career didn't, you know, pan out the way I wanted it to, like a lot of people. But you know, it's one of my goals, and I don't blame nobody but myself. You know, because I could have worked hard at the end and did what I was supposed to do and made some different decisions to make that happen, and I didn't. So that's why I started my gym. That's one of the reasons I started my gym.
Just to be that influence to help guys.
Yep, because I didn't want nobody to make that same mistake that I made. You know, I want them to always be ready.
Yeah. How was NFL Europe?
Oh, it was nice, man. Hank was our quarterback.
Really?
Yeah, man. Yeah, Hank was my quarterback, man. Henry Bress was the quarterback. But, Nick, it was nice, man. We had some great players over there. Sid Irwin, you know, Michael Irvin nephew. So it was good. I met a couple of, you know, great coaches over there, like Richard Kidd, who coaching in Saskatchewan right now. You know, we still talk, but it was awesome, Nick. I had a ball.
Yeah.
Had a ball.
How was life over there? I've heard stories that life was great in NFL Europe.
Oh, it was, man. They treated you with a lot of respect. It's crazy because, you know, over there it's soccer. everything about soccer, but they loved the football though, man. I mean, the games was packed week in and week out. My roommate Kendall Newsom was over there. He was with Ryan Fire, so we had that competition. He another receiver that talked a little bit, but it was good, man. Just the competition over there was great, and it was good to see a lot of those guys go back to the NFL and become Pro Bowlers.
Yeah, that's what what's his name for the Steelers?
James Harrison.
James Harrison.
Yeah.
I heard stories about James Harrison. He got cut by NFL Europe like 2 or 3 times. Somebody got hurt. He came back and just destroyed it, and then ended up going into his career. So it's crazy how that can happen to the magnitude of. I think for a lot of people, it's the maturity and the switching mindset.
It is. It's the greatness mindset. We always talk about the mindset of greatness, right? He had to go through that fire. He went through that fire, but he didn't give up, though, Nick. That's the thing. That's the difference. He kept going. And then look how it panned out for him. You talk
to your kids or your young men about it's not really all talent.
Yes, we talk about that. It's about being in the right situation. Having somebody that really want to give you the opportunity. And that's in the corner fighting for you.
Yeah.
Good thing with me, I had Kavis Reed up in the CFL. He was the one who gave me my opportunity up here and fighting for me. So,
yeah.
I want to thank him for that. It was an absolute blessing, to have him in my corner.
When you look at coming to Canada, have you ever heard about CFL?
I did. I used to watch it a little bit, but I remember Cope was up here. Jermaine Copeland was up here. So we used to watch it at some of the games that come on. And then when they told me that I was going to Hamilton, first thing I had to do was find out where Hamilton was. And they sit in the film and, I'm looking, I'm like, woo, them boys running down the line at you. It was just it was a completely different game for me.
Yeah.
So, but I was excited about the opportunity though. Not knowing, what it was going to turn out to be. And, me still living in Canada.
Yeah. Beautiful country, man. It's
beautiful
awesome.
Country, man. Great people. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about Canada.
Yeah. The when you first came out, your first start was against the Calgary Stampeders, I believe.
Yes. Yep.
Henry Burris goes down. A young man by the name of Jason Gesser comes in.
Right.
Heisman hopeful Jason Gesser.
Yep.
And Steve Barato looks at Jason Gesser and says, do not throw the field hitch. Calls the play. Tell us what happened next.
Man, I picked that thing off and took it 70-something yards to the house. Nick, it's funny, though, Nick, because that was my strength. My strength was reading the quarterback 3-step, and up here is just the 1-step. And Henry Burris knew that when I was at NFL Europe. That's one thing I did. I'm gonna jump at route. I'm gonna read that I'm gonna get my read from that quarterback, and then it's gonna tell me what that receiver doing. So I'm gonna go from quarterback to the receiver hip, and I'm breaking. So I knew if he threw that field side hitch, I was picking it off and I'm taking it to the house. Because I was known for breaking on hitches. Yeah. Everybody knew that. So when I got the opportunity, and I was already hungry. Now, keep in mind, Nick, this was week 8. I want to say it was week 7, week 8. Till then, I was on the practice roster. And the same thing I did in that game, I was doing all my whole career in practice when I was on the practice roster. And I remember somebody saying, "Man, why they ain't playing you?" I said, "Don't worry, my time will come. It's gonna happen." I said, "I'm not." Same thing I said. I'm not gonna rush it. Yep. When I get the opportunity, you'll see. And he was like, "Man, you. If I was you, I would just. I'd tell them, forget that, man. I'd go home." I said, "You don't know the matter of man that I am."
But what you gonna do at home?
Exactly. Exactly. I'm not going back home. No, I'm gonna take advantage of the opportunity. So I went to practice with a smile on my face, and it was funny because I want to say Urban Justin had tweaked the hamstring.
Yeah. And
Urban came to me, was like, "Man, they're trying to get me to play, but you've been out here doing your thing. You need an opportunity." So Urban was like, I can't play. I ain't gonna go out there and make myself look bad. So they had to play me, Nick. I remember watching TSN. They were like, "Yeah, they're starting the rookie cornerback," and it's talking about me. I went over there and I went early and I was prepared. I had my mind was ready to go. I wish they could play the game was played at 4:00. because I wouldn't have had to wait. But when I got the opportunity, man, that ball was in the air. I said, here we go. Thank you. I snatched it, man. Was down the sideline. I looked at the fans. I pointed to the back of my jersey, man. I want them to see that Bradley because I want them to know you're going to see that for a long time to come in the Hammer.
It was like soon as you picked it, the ball was in the air. Yeah. It was just like soon as you picked it off, you took within 3 steps. Ball was in the air, and you was running down the
ball
field.
In the air. Nigga, I was
I'm
lined
like,
up.
you can't catch nobody. If you throw a field hitch and it gets picked off, you're not catching
It's
it.
a wrap. You ain't catching
Nobody can catch it.
I was lined up 11 yards out, so I was baiting him. So when he looked at me, I'm 11 yards out. Ain't no way he breaking on this hitch route. He thought he had it, man. And then you guys turned around and did a hitch and go on me. And I always tell my guys, if you pick off a hitch and take it to the house, do not bite on the next hitch. You know that hitch is going to come. It going to set you up. So I knew it was coming. I get the interception. So I had 2 interceptions my first game. Coach came to me like, boy, what is it, your birthday? and the rest was history, Nick. But I was ready for the opportunity when it came. And that's just how I'm built.
Yeah, that mindset, man.
Yeah.
And when you look back at when you say, you know, being there and not being there, like when you were in college, like your mindset, you was already there and you cheated yourself. To that moment in Hamilton, that first game, just the growth of everything you've been through that created that mentality that you was preparing for that moment and you seized that moment. Can you just talk about that growth?
Man, you know what I always say, you know, when you go through things, you got to learn from them. So I learned from, you know, my past mistakes and missed opportunities, you know, and I didn't want to put myself in that position again. You know, so I told myself when I get that opportunity, you know, I'm going to definitely take advantage of it. So my mindset was a whole lot different now, Nick. You know, my work ethic was just crazy. I had me a personal trainer, you know, and I was ready to go when the opportunity came. You know, I always talk about the greatness of mindset. You know, baptism in that fire. Yeah. Right. Anybody else would have quit. Like you was talking about James Harrison, man. After getting cut twice, somebody else would have quit. Nah, but it was something inside. It was an inside job. You know, he had that burning desire to make something happen. And it's the same thing with me. I had that burning desire to make a name for myself. It didn't matter what league I was in. You know, I always say, you know, you got to play with your feet on. My feet was in the CFL right at that moment. So I had to go make a name in the CFL, and it was one of the best things that happened to me in life. It was God's plan.
That's it.
Yep.
Then going to Edmonton, how was that change? Going from the East to the West?
Well, the big change, Nick, was once I got released by Hamilton after I hurt my shoulder, camp was already going on. So I'm on the couch. You know, I'm still working out, but you know what they say, man, they sign you off the couch, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't get a chance to go through training camp. So, and you know, as an athlete, boy, we need that training camp.
Yeah.
Right? So I remember, you know, just talking to Cavis, and he was like, you know, we're gonna make a move soon. You know, we're gonna make a move soon. And they end up signing me. The first game was against Saskatchewan. So I get to practice. You know, Rich Stubler was was the defensive coordinator. And he was like, "What's up, killer?" The first thing he said to me. And, man, I get out there, and I'm thinking, you know, Cavis give me a couple of weeks, you know, to get my legs back under me. Man, I get to practice. Cavis come down there and be like, "What you doing?" I'm standing on the side. He's like, "Get out there. You're my field side corner." I'm like, here we go. So good thing for me, though, is I had Chris Thompson, a guy that I played with at Hamilton. And, you know, he played field half and I was field corner. So I knew what Chris was doing. He knew how I played. So that chemistry, you know, it helped me out a whole lot, man. And I went out there and we did our thing. But my legs was gone, though, Nick.
That dude's special, too. CT?
Yeah, man. CT a beast. CT a beast. He going to bring that play out of you.
Ooh, that dude's special.
Yes, sir.
Man, I don't know how we released him in Montreal. I think that was the dump. Like, I won't even get into all that. But Chris Thompson is a special creature.
Yeah, and it's good now because he's coaching. He's coaching at Nickel State.
I know.
So now those guys is getting that greatness from
I'm going to have him on soon. Because I remember one time we threw a go route, Johnny, down the sideline, right? CT's just outside the hash. And he's backpedaling. He's guarding the dude down the seam in the middle. And he spins out, goes over the shoulder, catches it. And then I'm like, dude, this dude right here, he covers ground. He got long legs. He covers ground.
And
then he got great hands.
And he got great. He catch everything. I haven't seen him drop the interception, Nick. And the one thing he always say too, boy, I ask like, Nick, I say, CT, man, I think this out route coming. He look at me and say, go make a play, killer.
It sounds like you do.
Hey, I got you over the top. You know, the same thing Brandon Lynch would tip. Go make a play. I got you over the top. But yeah, man, CT, man, he gonna cover that ground. Somebody might take him 8 steps. He gonna do it in 4.
Yeah, dude, that dude was special.
Yeah, it was an honor and a blessing.
Man, I want to do like a feature on some of these guys because, like I was talking to Chad Owens about Andre Dury.
Yes,
that dude's special. Like, there's so many guys that don't get talked about.
Right.
Maybe it was an injury, or maybe there was a couple other players around that got more of the notice.
Yes.
There were some guys that when I think back, there's like, man, them dudes was special.
There was some dogs there. I used to
tell people. Just like an O-line, Ben Archibald. He was –
Right.
Man, I remember we used to run the toss, and we call it 38 or 39 pit.
Okay.
So, pitch, basically. Pit. It started with a P, so it was a pitch play.
Right.
It's the same side pitch. So he catch, just toss it over there. And every time he's running to Archie's side, when we're breaking the huddle, Archie told Joff, I got the edge. And when he said he had the edge, did he? He had the edge because you could tell Joffrey trusted it 100% because Joffrey would catch the ball.
Yeah.
On a full sprint because he knows he's running to the edge. Because, usually you want to stretch it and put 1 foot cut. But when Archie said he got that edge,
you catch it, you go.
You go. Ain't no 1 foot cut. Stretching that thing out and getting up that outside them numbers.
Right.
And, yeah, man, that Archie's special. When we had those 3, man, we had Archie and then Edwin Harrison and then Stanley Bryant.
Yeah, Stanley Bryant. Yeah, Nick, y'all always had dogs out there, though, man.
Ooh, man.
On both sides of the ball, like y'all always had some dogs, man. That organization, was they did a really good job of finding talent out there.
Yeah, man. It's a beautiful thing, but to talk about sports, but to talk about the intricacies of what really happens on the field, right? And to know that you had players like that. I remember watching Omar Morgan and Eddie Davis do it for a long time.
Yeah, them guys can get some dogs, boy.
Whenever you have 2 guys that communicate so well, right, they didn't give up a lot.
No, they did. It was kind of like BC.
Yeah, Dante.
With Mark Washington, Dante, and Ryan RP. Like those guys, man, it was just it was just that brotherhood. And them guys knew what it was like. Me, CTTs, Markeith.
And you played with Tad too, huh?
Tad corner game. Everybody knew. You know what I'm saying?
You got a Tad story? Tad told me, he's like, man, you got to get people to tell Tad stories.
Man, I got a bunch of Tad stories, man.
Let's hear one Tad story.
But let me. Okay, I'll tell you the one Tad story. We was going to Toronto one time, and I think we made it to Toronto. Tad had a Charger. I had a 300. He had the Charger, but he had that engine in that thing, man. And I don't drive fast. He had to hear me, nigga. I don't drive fast. I had the Charger with the rims. Yeah, I remember you had it. But Tad, I think we so Hamilton about 45 from Toronto. I think we got to Toronto in 10 minutes. Nick, 10 minutes. I told him I'm never riding with you to Toronto again. Ever. That was the worst ride to Toronto I ever been on, man.
Where was y'all going? Y'all just going to hang out?
Yeah, we was going out. It was after a game. I think it was after a game, but one of our days out. But we was going out, man. A couple of guys was fouling, but it wasn't no fouling tag. We was there in like 10, 15 minutes. I said I should have hopped in the car behind me.
I used to drive like that when I was young, man. I used to drive 110 everywhere.
Oh, man.
Man, because if you wasn't, you know what I'm saying, you had to drive 110 everywhere.
I
used to leave late to get there early.
See? Yeah, boy, not me. Hey, them boys tell you, I'm just low key, Nick. I'm cruise, man. I'm cruise through them neighborhoods, but we're gonna get there. Might not get there 10 minutes, but we're gonna get there.
When you look back at your CFL career and just your overall, just your career, what you did in college and high school, what do you think about it?
You know what, man? I'm happy at everything I accomplished, and that's one thing now is, God put me in a position to give back. Now it's bigger than me. right? That's one thing I tell myself is big. I done it. You know, there ain't nothing else you could do. None of that mean anything if you can't give it back.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's how I look at it, and that's my approach now.
Yeah. We talk about principles, standing on the principles, the man you are inside. All that really equates to what's going on right now. And
right.
All that equates over to what are you building? What are you trying to leave? What is your legacy going to be?
Absolutely.
And when you think about all that, what's that for you? What is the legacy? What is the vision that you see yourself doing and leaving for everyone?
Mine is making sure that I can give everybody opportunities to be great. You know, how many kids can I go out there? How many, not only kids, how many adults can I give an opportunity to be great? You know, how many people can I help out? Can I save? That's what it is. How many more Joaquin Bradleys can I create? You know, to give them an opportunity, right? Like I said, now that, remember I was talking about that plant, man. That's the branches that's coming off that plant now. You know what I mean? So you always want to, create branches. Can I create branches? You know, going back to Knoxville, once I get in position, you know, don't matter if I'm in the pros, college, you know, giving somebody an opportunity, you know, and then they can do the same thing. So it's planting seeds.
That's it.
Yep.
Man, I appreciate you coming on, brother.
I appreciate you having me, Nick, man. And like I said, you keep doing what you do, and you let me know anybody you want to get on this show that I got contact with, and we're going to see if we can make that happen.
Indeed, brother. Oh, one quick thing. You see the shirt I'm wearing. Who is your bro?
Okay.
Delvin Breaux.
Oh, man. Hey, I call him – he called me Clyde. I call him Ray.
That man's special, too.
Hey, but when you talk, but Nick, that's everything. Some of what we've been talking about. We talk about greatness and somebody that been through a lot and never gave up. And look at him now. You know, I mean, it ain't too much. He inspired. You know, and I had the opportunity, you know, to go down there and work with him in Hamilton. You know, we did a Zoom meeting together. You know, man, that guy's special. Man,
yeah, he know the game too.
He know the game. He know the game. He a great man too. You know,
great student of the game.
And a baller.
Baller. Hey, when he walk up on them receivers.
Oh, it's a wrap.
He putting hands on you. I tell him he ain't playing no games over there.
Hey, if Devin get them hands on you, that quarterback better go the other way. It's a wrap.
I tell him, hey, if your hands below your waist,
right?
It's over. It's over. You better pick your hands up. You better act like you in a dog fight. That's why I love it, man. Because you play against Delvin Breaux, you're in a dog fight the whole game. Because he want to press you every play. Even if it's like zone, he want to press you every play.
He like Tiz. He like Tiz, boy. You look over there. Him and Tiz, boy, you going to look over there. Them boys want to press. I don't care if it's zone or if it's not zone. They're going to press you up. I seen Delvin Breaux against Atlanta. I remember telling him, boy, you the only person I ever seen him up Julio Jones.
At the line.
The Julio beast. You know, I'm a big Julio fan, boy, but Devin had a really good game against Julio. He got in his face, and then, them boys was going at it. It was a battle. But Devin, he held his own, man.
He make you work for every inch.
He gonna make you work for every inch.
Speaking of Tiz, tell Tiz I said what's up. One.
I will. Talk to him every day.
Two, did Tiz ever tell you about the times I used to get on scout team to come run routes against him? Because, Tiz played boundary corner. Right. Tiz like, you can only get me from the slot. So then I used to jump on scout team.
Okay.
Just to go head up with Tiz.
Right.
We used to go at it.
Yeah, man.
We used to go at it.
Boy. Mm-hmm.
I said, I'm coming to the island. Tiz like, this Tiz Island, man.
This Tiz Island.
You ain't coming over here. I said, Tiz, I'm coming over here to get this work.
Right.
But we made each other better, though.
We gotta get Tiz on, Nick. He one of the guys. He one of my guys. He always tell me how much I inspired him. Some things. At Hamilton and with. I remember one time he had a game. I guess it was against Freddie. We was playing Edmonton. He'll tell you the story. And he had a bad game. Not really a bad game, but Fred makes some plays on him, right? So he was down on himself. Man, he had a towel on his head. Everybody coming up to him. He didn't want to hear it. I lifted that towel up and said, "Man, I feel sorry for who got to go against you next week." That's all. And I walked away. He said, "Kelly, that's all I needed to hear." And he worked hard. Next week, man, he balled out. He got Player of the Week. A play that he made, it was against Everton again, was on ESPN. You know what I'm saying? But it was that get up spirit. Yeah, okay. We all have bad games. I done had them. Okay, hey, but how you get up from them? That's the mindset of a defensive back.
Yeah,
you know, and that's the mindset of life. Yeah, bad things gonna happen, but how do you get up from it? How do you come back?
As a DB, you almost got to be like a shooter in basketball.
Yeah,
you got to forget that last shot. You know what I'm saying? You got to forget that last play because
they're gonna put a bullseye on your
chest.
That's
it. Ooh, you do not want
and you don't want
rotation.
That. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he used to go against Ram at practice.
And then, Ram could
he go against Ram, and then I get on scout team. I go against him. Just different looks, man.
Yeah, different looks, man. And it helped you. You know, it made you better.
When Tiz plays with confidence, man. When Tiz plays with confidence, man, there's not a lot of people that you can say that was better than him.
Right, exactly.
When he played with confidence. He was. Ooh. He had long arms. He could run.
Yeah,
he's great making the play on the ball.
Yes, right. He was great ball skills. But his technique, though, Nick, when you watch his technique, and that's the same technique that I like to teach. You gonna play press man with your feet. Watch him. I mean, his technique looked the same every time. It never changed. And he just mastered it. He mastered it. It was like brushing his teeth.
You know, that's
which gave him the confidence to play.
And I've seen him a lot more last year. I seen him a little bit in Sass when we were there. Cresden Butler.
Okay. Yeah. I like Butler.
Dude, he's a great technician too. Yeah. He got great technique. And what even better, he's smart.
Right.
I see what he's doing with training. I see a lot of people training kids, and I'm like, what are they doing? I'm watching him train these kids. The dude knows it.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly, man.
It's not just from a book or from a video.
No.
Like you can see the feet work they're installing in them. You can see how they're rotating their hips and getting in and out of things. It's special, man.
Because everybody teach different, Nick, and that's one thing I say. You see my guys, you're gonna see, you're gonna see a technician. Like when you watch film, you're gonna know they been coached up. And that's what you said about Butler. Like he know what he's talking about. You know, we're not just gonna throw him out there and say play man to man. And then when you get beat, I'm gonna yell at you. No. I'm gonna show you the technique. So now when you do get beat, it might be something in the technique that I can correct.
Exactly. Because I tell people all the time, like, you can't try harder. You tried hard the first time.
Exactly.
You gotta be better technically, because when everybody gets tired, how technical you are is gonna make the difference of making a play or not making a play.
Right. Exactly.
And being consistently good is being great. It's not making a great play. Being consistently good is being great.
Absolutely.
Right. So
absolutely. Well, we gotta get Tiz on here, man. I'm gonna talk to him and tell him you gotta get him up. He coaching them too, Nick.
Where at?
He coaching out in California.
Awesome.
They pushed the season back though, but you gotta see his son. His son is a problem. Tiz been training him.
I bet he is.
Yeah, he'll talk a little bit more about it. Yes, sir.
How can everybody stay up to date on you, like social media? How can they follow you and keep up with what you're doing, man?
Well, you know what? I mean, I'll be on Facebook every once in a while so they can, look up Joaquin Bradley. Somebody created another page that wasn't me, so I had to go erase it. But I got to go get my Twitter. That's the main thing. I got to set me a Twitter account up, and I'm on my email is BradleySports, at rocketmail.com. So, if anybody got any questions or, comments or concerns, they can always email me. I'm on Instagram just as Joaquin Bradley, but yeah, that's my contact, and they can hit me up anytime.
Man, that's good to know, man. I might have some kids sending your way soon. Some great, talented kids. It's going to be awesome, man. It's great to make connections. But it's also great to support the next generation.
Exactly.
And what they're trying to accomplish. Also, I could see a segment on the media company called Bradley Inspirations.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm looking forward to what we're building, what you're doing. I appreciate you for coming through and sharing your story. Any last words you want to say to anybody out there listening to this right now?
Man, I just want to say, everybody talk about, what we're going through right now. Everybody just stay up. Like I said, 2020 is the vision, so sit down and figure out what the vision is, and let's go out there and let's be great. Nick, I appreciate you having me on, man. It's an honor. It's a blessing. And I'm going to continue to see you do your thing, man. You keep doing it. You keep inspiring, big homie.
And tell your wife You had to not answer the phone because we was on the podcast.
Hey, I got you.
So you went out running them streets.
Hey, I ain't running them streets. I'm at home on the podcast.
Well, this is the Lulu Logic Podcast, and we out.
All right, big dog.